She said, "We need to take a break." I pulled out the engagement ring. Her friend just destroyed 3 careers and a business partnership. I 29M am still shaking as I write this. So bear with me if this gets long. What happened 3 days ago completely blindsided me, and I need to get this out before I lose my mind. I have been with Madison 27F for 4.5 years. We met during my last semester at community college. I was finishing up my business degree while working part-time for a landscaping company. She was getting her marketing degree at the state university nearby. I know what you are thinking, landscaping guy and marketing girl. Classic mismatch, right? That is exactly what her best friend Jessica, 28F, has been saying for the past 2 years. My landscaping business isn't just cutting grass. I started Creek Valley Landscapes 3 years ago with my buddy Marcus as a 50/50ths partner. We specialize in high-end residential and commercial projects. Think $50K backyard transformations, corporate campus maintenance contracts, the works. Last year, we pulled in $380K revenue. I am not some guy with a pickup truck and a lawnmower, but Jessica never saw it that way. Every time we would all hang out, she would make these little comments. "Oh, you must be so tired from working outside all day, Madison. Don't you want someone who wears a suit to work? I just think you have so much potential for someone more ambitious." Madison worked at Pinnacle Marketing downtown, the same agency where Jessica was a senior account manager. Jessica basically got Madison the job right after college, and they have been joined at the hip ever since. Madison always defended our relationship, but I could see the doubt creeping in over the past few months. The proposal had been planned for months. I had been working with a jeweler downtown, custom designing this vintage-style ring with her birthstone accents. Cost me $8,000. Not huge money for some people, but it was 3 months of profit for me. I wanted it to be perfect. I picked Bella Vista, this upscale Italian place overlooking the river, made reservations for 7 p.m. on Friday, requested their corner booth with the city view. I even drove by earlier that week to make sure the lighting would be right. Madison looked incredible that night. She wore this emerald green dress that made her eyes pop, and I remember thinking this was it. This was the moment our real life together would start. But from the moment I picked her up, something felt wrong. She was quiet during the drive, kept fidgeting with her phone. At dinner, she barely touched her osso buco, which is normally her favorite. I was trying to keep the conversation light, talking about our weekend plans. A trip to her parents' place next month. "Actually, we need to talk about that," she said, setting down her fork. My stomach dropped. "Talk about what? About us? About where this is going?" She wouldn't look at me directly. I have been doing a lot of thinking lately. I felt the ring box burning a hole in my jacket pocket. "Madison, what is going on? I think we need to take a break. Some time apart to really figure out what we want." The words hit me like ice water. A break? Where is this coming from? We were just talking about moving to that new apartment complex on Riverside Drive. That is just it. We talk about these things, but I don't know if my heart is really in it anymore. We have grown apart, and I need space to understand what I actually want for my future. What you want, or what Jessica thinks you should want. Her face flushed red. This isn't about Jessica, isn't it? Because she has been in your ear for months about how I am not good enough, how you are settling, how you should find someone with a real career. She is just looking out for me. She thinks we are fundamentally incompatible long-term. That is when I knew this conversation was over. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the ring box, setting it on the white tablecloth between us. Madison's eyes went wide. "Oh my God, is that?" "Yeah, this is the engagement ring I was going to give you tonight. I was going to ask you to marry me, to start planning our wedding, to build a life together." I opened the box. The ring caught the candlelight, and I saw tears forming in her eyes. "But you know what, Madison? You don't deserve it. Wait, please number. You want to throw away 4.5 years because your toxic friend convinced you that a guy who owns his own business and makes 6 figures isn't good enough. Fine. But don't expect me to wait around while you go find yourself." I closed the box and put it back in my pocket. Madison was crying openly now, reaching across the table. "Please, can we just talk about this? I didn't know you were going to talk. We just did. You made your choice the moment you let Jessica get inside your head." I stood up, pulled out my wallet, and left $150 on the table, enough to cover both our meals and a generous tip. because I didn't want the staff to suffer for this disaster. Goodbye, Madison. I walked out of that restaurant with my head high, but I was dying inside. The drive home was a blur of rage and heartbreak. 4.5 years. I had introduced her to my family, been planning to ask her dad for permission next weekend, had already started mentally redesigning my house to make room for her stuff. When I got home, I poured myself 3 fingers of whiskey and sat in my living room, staring at that ring box. Part of me wondered if I had been too harsh, if I should have fought harder. Then I made the mistake of opening Instagram. The first story I saw was Jessica's. It was a video from some trendy downtown bar, loud music, people dancing. And there, right in the center of the frame, was Madison. She was completely hammered, pressed up against some tall guy in an expensive suit. He had his hands on her waist and she was laughing, throwing her head back like she didn't have a care in the world. They were grinding on each other like teenagers. But here's the part that made my blood boil. I was tagged in the story not publicly, but with Instagram's close friends feature. So only I would see that notification. Jessica had specifically made sure I would see Madison hooking up with someone else exactly 3 hours after she needed a break to figure things out. I took screenshots of everything, the timestamp, the tag, the video itself, because I had a feeling I had need evidence later. Sure enough, my phone started buzzing at 1:47 a.m. "Baby, please, you have to let me explain." Madison sobbed into the phone. "Explain what exactly?" "That you needed space to figure out what you wanted, then immediately figured out you wanted to dry hump some random guy at a bar. It wasn't like that. Jessica took me out to cheer me up after dinner. I was devastated about what happened between us. I had too much to drink, and she introduced me to this guy David from her office." "Oh, so Jessica was your wing woman. How convenient." "No," she said. "It would help me feel better, but I was just drunk and emotional. It didn't mean anything. Right? Nothing ever means anything. Does it, Madison? Our relationship didn't mean anything. My proposal didn't mean anything. And grinding on some stranger didn't mean anything. Got it. That is not fair. You know, what is not fair? Planning a proposal for months, spending my savings on a ring, and having your girlfriend dump me so she can immediately hook up with someone else, while her best friend documents it for me to see. I didn't know she was recording. I didn't know you would see it. But you knew you were hooking up with him. 3 hours, Madison. It took you 3 hours to get over our 4-year relationship." She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. "Please, can we meet tomorrow? I need to see you number. We are done. Don't contact me again." I hung up and blocked her number. That was 5 days ago, and I haven't spoken to either of them since. My business partner Marcus has been great. He is handling the client meetings while I get my head straight. My family knows something's wrong, but I haven't told them the full story yet. Part of me keeps wondering if I was too harsh. Maybe I should have given her a chance to explain. But every time I think that, I remember that video and the fact that Jessica made sure I would see it. What do you think, Reddit? Did I handle this right, or should I have tried to work things out? Update 1: 3 weeks after the breakup, I started feeling off. Really off. I was getting dizzy spells during work, had this constant chest tightness, and my heart kept racing for no reason. Marcus kept telling me it was stress from the Madison situation, but when I nearly passed out while operating our commercial mower, he drove me straight to the ER. Turns out I had a condition called supraventricular tachycardia. Basically, my heart rhythm was all screwed up. The cardiologist said it was likely genetic, but stress could trigger episodes. I needed a procedure called cardiac ablation to fix it. It wasn't life-threatening, but it wasn't exactly minor surgery either. They had to thread catheters through my blood vessels to reach my heart. I would be under general anesthesia for 34 hours. My mom flew in from Phoenix. Marcus cleared his schedule to handle the business, and my brother took time off work to help out. The surgery went fine, but I had to stay in the hospital for 2 days for monitoring. Here is where things get weird. I am lying in my hospital bed the morning after surgery, still groggy from the anesthesia, when I hear a soft knock on the door. I figured it was a nurse, or maybe my mom coming back with coffee. It was Jessica. She is standing in my doorway holding a bouquet of flowers, the expensive kind from the gift shop downstairs, with this concerned, almost tender expression on her face. "Oh, thank God you are okay," she says, rushing to my bedside like we are long-lost lovers or something. I am so confused I can barely speak, Jessica. How did you even know I was here? Word gets around. Word gets around. When I heard, just stay away. She sets the flowers on my bedside table and actually reaches for my hand. I am too shocked to pull away. I need you to know how terrible I feel about everything that happened with Madison. You didn't deserve that. You are such a good man. And she made a huge mistake. I am staring at her, trying to process this. This is the same Jessica who spent 2 years undermining my relationship, who convinced Madison I wasn't good enough, who made sure I saw that video of Madison with another guy. I have always thought Madison was lucky to have you, she continues, squeezing my hand. You are successful, you are kind, you are ambitious. Any woman would be crazy not to see that. She stays for almost 3 hours, brings me ice water, adjusts my pillows, asks about my business, tells me how impressive it is that I built something from nothing. She is being everything she never was when Madison and I were together, supportive, encouraging, interested in my work. But I am not an idiot. I can see exactly what is happening. Jessica didn't come to the hospital out of guilt or genuine concern. She saw Madison out of the picture and thought she could slide right into that empty space. The same woman who destroyed my relationship was now positioning herself as my caring, supportive friend. When visiting hours ended, she leaned over and actually kissed my forehead. I am so glad you are okay, she whispered. The world would be a darker place without you in it. After she left, I just lay there thinking Jessica had been playing a long game this whole time. She didn't just want to break up Madison and me. She wanted Madison out of the way so she could have me for herself. I spent the rest of that night planning. If Jessica wanted to play manipulative games, she was about to learn what happens when you try to manipulate someone who is finally seeing clearly. The next morning, I was discharged with strict orders to take it easy for 2 weeks. Marcus picked me up and drove me home, helped me get settled, but I wasn't planning to rest. I was planning revenge. Update 2. After I got home from the hospital, Jessica didn't waste any time. She started texting me that same day. Hope you are feeling better. Let me know if you need anything at all. Just thinking about you and hoping the recovery is going smoothly. I picked up some groceries earlier. I could drop off soup or something healthy if you want. At first, I ignored her completely, but then I realized something. This was an opportunity. Jessica thought she was being clever, swooping in while I was vulnerable, but she had no idea I was documenting everything. I started responding, but carefully. Not too eager, not too cold. Just enough to keep her interested. Thanks for checking in. Recovery is slow, but I am managing. That is really thoughtful of you to offer help. I appreciate you thinking of me during all this. Jessica took this as encouragement and ramped up immediately. Her texts got longer and more personal. I keep thinking about how unfairly life has treated you lately. First Madison breaking your heart, then this health scare. You deserve so much better than what you have been dealing with. I have always admired how hard you work and what you have built with your business. It takes real vision and determination to do what you have done. Honestly, I never understood what Madison's problem was. You are successful, caring, and any woman would be lucky to have you. Now, here is the key detail. I live in a one-party consent state for recording conversations. So when Jessica started calling me, I made sure to record everything. The first call came 3 days after I got home. I was ready. How are you feeling today? She asked, her voice all soft and concerned. Better, thanks. Still taking it easy like the doctor ordered. I have been worried about you. I know we weren't always close when you were with Madison, but seeing you in that hospital bed really put things in perspective for me. What do you mean? I think I judged you unfairly before. Madison was always so insecure about our friendship, and I think that made me keep my distance from you. But now I can see what kind of person you really are. This was rich, considering she had spent 2 years actively sabotaging my relationship. I appreciate that, Jessica. Can I ask you something? Do you think there is a chance you could forgive me for not being a better friend to you before? I would really like to start over, if you are open to it. I told her I was open to being friends, and that seemed to give her all the encouragement she needed. Over the next week, Jessica called me every single day. Sometimes twice. She would ask about my recovery, tell me about her day, and gradually start working in more personal topics. I have been thinking about what you said at the hospital about Madison making a mistake. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if she had had better friends? Friends who supported her relationship instead of what happened. She was rewriting history in real time, painting herself as someone who had always been on my side. The real breakthrough came when she asked if she could bring me dinner. I said yes. And she showed up at my house with bags from this expensive Thai place downtown. Not just takeout containers, but actual plated meals with cloth napkins and everything. While we ate, she kept the conversation focused on me, my business, my recovery, my plans for the future. She was being everything Madison used to complain she wasn't interested, supportive, encouraging. I have a confession, she said over dessert. I always thought you were too good for Madison. Even in college, I could see you were going places while she was just coasting. That is not true. Madison worked hard at her job. Did she, though? I mean, I got her that job. I have been covering for her mistakes for 2 years. She is not as competent as you think she is. She was throwing Madison under the bus to build me up. Classic manipulation technique. I just think you deserve someone who appreciates your ambition. Someone who sees your potential instead of trying to hold you back. The conversation went on like this for 3 hours. Jessica positioning herself as the woman who got me while subtly tearing down Madison. I recorded every word, but the really incriminating stuff came when she started texting me late at night. I cannot stop thinking about our conversation tonight. I feel like I am finally seeing you clearly for the first time. I know this sounds crazy, but I think I have had feelings for you for a while. I just couldn't admit it while you were with Madison. Do you think there is a chance you could see me as more than just a friend? I know the timing is complicated, but I cannot help how I feel. Screenshot, screenshot, screenshot. The final piece of evidence came when she called me crying at 11:30 p.m. last Tuesday. I need to tell you something, and I need you to hear me out. She sobbed into the phone. Okay, I am listening. I was the one who encouraged Madison to break up with you. I told her you weren't right for each other, that she could do better. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. She paused, and I could hear her trying to compose herself. The truth is, I was jealous. I have been attracted to you for years, but you were with my best friend, and I couldn't act on it. So instead of being a good friend to both of you, I sabotaged your relationship. She actually admitted it. On a recorded phone call, I thought if Madison broke up with you, maybe eventually you would see me differently. I know that makes me a terrible person, but I couldn't help myself. You are everything I want in a man, Jessica. This is a lot to process, I know. I know it is selfish and wrong, and I probably ruined any chance I had with you by admitting this. But seeing you in that hospital made me realize life's too short to waste time on games and manipulation. Too late for that realization, sweetie. I am falling in love with you, she whispered. I have been for years. I told her I needed time to think about everything she had told me, and we should talk more in person soon. That was yesterday. Today, I have been going through all the evidence I have collected. 47 text message screenshots showing Jessica's escalating romantic interest. 12 recorded phone conversations where she admits to sabotaging my relationship with Madison. Voice recordings of her confessing her feelings and describing her manipulation. Photos she sent me, nothing inappropriate. But clearly trying to look attractive. Jessica thinks she has been playing me this whole time. She has no idea I have been 3 steps ahead of her. Tomorrow, I am going to spring my trap. And Jessica is going to learn what it feels like to be outmaneuvered by someone who has been documenting every move she has made. Stay tuned. Reddit. The best part is coming. Final update. Remember how I said I had a plan for Jessica? Well, it worked better than I ever imagined it would, but it also uncovered some stuff that I wasn't expecting, and now there are consequences I never saw coming. Thursday morning, I texted Jessica and asked if she wanted to come over for dinner. She responded within 5 minutes. Yes, I will bring wine. She showed up at 7 p.m. dressed to kill. This wasn't casual bringing soup to a sick friend attire. She was wearing a tight black dress, heels, the whole seduction setup. She would clearly interpreted my dinner invitation as something it wasn't. During dinner, Jessica was laying it on thick, touching my arm when she laughed, complimenting everything from my house to my business to my emotional maturity. She was being the woman she had never been when I was with Madison, supportive, interested, attentive. After dinner, we moved to the living room. That is when Jessica made her move. "I have been thinking about everything I told you on the phone," she said, moving closer to me on the couch. "About my feelings for you. Yeah, I know the timing isn't ideal, but I cannot help how I feel. I have wanted you for so long." She put her hand on my chest. Is there any chance you could feel the same way?" This was it. The moment I had been waiting for, "Jessica, I need to be honest with you about something." Her face lit up. She thought I was about to confess feelings for her. Instead, I pulled out my phone and played the recording from our conversation 3 nights ago. Her own voice filled the room. "I was the one who encouraged Madison to break up with you. I was jealous. I sabotaged your relationship." Jessica went white. "What? Why do you have that?" "Because I wanted evidence of what kind of person you really are." I pulled up the screenshots of her texts. All those messages about being in love with me, about manipulating Madison, about targeting me for years. She started backing away from me. "You recorded me. Without telling me. It is perfectly legal in this state. And Jessica, I am sending all of it to Madison, right now." I opened my laptop, which I had prepared earlier, with a folder containing everything. The recordings, the screenshots, the photos she would send, all organized chronologically with timestamps. "Please don't," Jessica begged, tears starting. "You don't understand the whole situation. Then explain it to me." What came out of her mouth next blew my mind. "Madison doesn't work at Pinnacle Marketing anymore. She got fired 2 weeks ago because of me." "What?" I have been sabotaging her at work too for months. I had changed her presentations before client meetings, delete her emails, make her look incompetent. I wanted her to fail so she would become more dependent on me and easier to control. I just stared at her. Jesus Christ. "Jessica, it wasn't supposed to go this far. I just wanted her to question herself, to be grateful for my friendship." But then she got written up, and they started documenting her performance issues, and I couldn't stop it without admitting what I had done. This woman was a sociopath. She had been destroying Madison's career while simultaneously destroying our relationship. "But she doesn't know it was me," Jessica continued desperately. "She thinks she just had a bad streak at work. If you send her those recordings, she will realize I have been manipulating her entire life." "Good. She deserves to know." I hit send. The email went to Madison's personal account with everything. Every text, every recording, every piece of evidence of Jessica's manipulation. Jessica lost it, started crying, then screaming, begging me to somehow unsend the email. She confessed to even more stuff. How she had been logging into Madison's social media accounts for months, posting things designed to make her look desperate or unprofessional. How she had been spreading rumors about Madison to their mutual friends. How she had been systematically isolating Madison to make her more dependent on Jessica's approval. I told her to leave. She refused, saying she needed to fix this. I had to literally walk her to the door and lock it behind her. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. "Madison, did you really record Jessica saying all those things?" "Every word." Madison was quiet for a long time. "Then, she got me fired." "Oh my God. She got me fired and I thought it was my fault." We talked for 2 hours. Madison told me how confused she had been about her work performance, how Jessica had been helping her with presentations that somehow always went wrong, how Jessica had convinced her that her career problems meant she needed to focus on herself instead of our relationship. Jessica had been playing us both, but Madison was her primary target. I was just collateral damage in Jessica's campaign to control every aspect of Madison's life. But here is where things get really crazy. Yesterday morning, Madison went to Pinnacle Marketing to confront Jessica, but Jessica never showed up for work. Turns out, Jessica had a complete breakdown Thursday night after leaving my house. She spent the night calling and texting me, leaving these rambling voicemails about how sorry she was and how she just wanted to be loved. When I didn't respond, she started sending messages to Madison, trying to do damage control. Madison saved everything and took it straight to their HR department Friday morning. Within 2 hours, Pinnacle had fired Jessica and launched an investigation into what they are calling workplace sabotage and harassment. They are reviewing every project Jessica touched in the past year, and they are considering bringing in a forensic IT specialist to examine the company's computer systems. But it gets worse for Jessica. Apparently, she wasn't just manipulating Madison and me. 2 other women at their office came forward with similar stories. Jessica had been undermining their work, spreading rumors, and generally making their lives hell. One of them was considering quitting because she thought she was incompetent, not realizing Jessica had been sabotaging her. Pinnacle is now facing potential lawsuits from employees whose careers Jessica damaged. They are talking about taking legal action against Jessica for the cost of the investigation and the potential settlements. As for Madison and me, we have been talking a lot. She has apologized for everything, and I can see how thoroughly Jessica manipulated her. Madison thought she was losing her mind. Her work was falling apart. Her friends were pulling away, and her relationship with me was full of doubt. I am not ready to just pick up where we left off, but I am willing to try couples counseling. Madison is getting therapy to deal with what amounts to years of psychological abuse from someone she trusted. And Jessica, last I heard, she has moved back in with her parents in Ohio. She is facing potential lawsuits from Pinnacle and at least 3 former colleagues. Her professional reputation in marketing is destroyed. Word gets around fast in that industry. Marcus and I just landed a $200,000 contract for a shopping center landscape redesign. My heart condition is fully resolved, and I still have that engagement ring, though I am not ready to use it yet. Sometimes the trash doesn't just take itself out. Sometimes it takes out all the other trash with it.